Welcome back. It's just coming up to 10 to 8 here in Paris. Time for the business. Matthew's back. We're looking at the markets to begin with, Matthew.
Yes, we are, Melissa. Let's take a look at Asia, actually, because the markets so far this year have had a pretty good year. But as we can see there, some of those markets starting to close now. Nikkei is closed. They're sort of wavering, just hovering slightly into the red. Kospi in South Korea up slightly. In Australia, the Australian index, they're back from holidays. They've had a good day as well. But over in the US, those markets yesterday all closed in the red. And what's going on there is that there was some disappointing numbers on new jobless claims yesterday, and also some weaker than expected figures on new home sales. So we keep getting this mix of good news and not so good news, which just sends these sort of jitters into the market. But as I said, overall, markets are in the positive for the year so far.
Right now, here in France, Socialist Party presidential nominee François Hollande has been outlining his manifesto. The candidate says that he would raise taxes on the rich and cancel billions of euros worth of tax breaks introduced by his conservative rival incumbent President Nicolas Sarkozy. Catherine Viette has more details.
A contract with France. Socialist candidate François Hollande presented his presidential platform focusing on the economy. He's vowed to get the country's state deficit under the EU target of 3% and to balance the budget by 2017. He's proposed a raft of social programs, including increasing public housing and health care, boosting France's smallest businesses, measures that could cost an estimated 20 billion euros over 5 years. Hollande says he would raise taxes on the rich as well as slap bank profits with a 15% tax hike. He also promises to deal with tax shelters and loopholes, bringing in 29 billion euros needed to pay for his programs.
The big question of this election is not whether we should find 29 billion, a bit less or a bit more, because we can find 29 billion, but the question is who is going to pay it? The current government and the current president say it's French taxpayers who should pay. What I'm saying is that it should be the biggest companies, those that have benefited from excessive tax breaks and loopholes, and the highest earners and the biggest fortunes in the country.
Not everyone is convinced his proposals are on solid ground.
I just see a lot of marketing effort from the Socialist Party and François Hollande with the 60 proposals. Still a lot of uncertainty on that side, uncertainty that's fueled furthermore by the fact that his growth expectations at 2 to 2.5% per annum in 3 years is blatantly and bluntly unrealistic.
Recent polls show Hollande leading in the presidential race, but half of French voters still say they're undecided.
And let's pick up on a few more of the day's business stories. Greece will continue talks with private bondholders on Friday to get a deal on its debt after discussions on Thursday were said to have made progress. The country is looking to reduce the interest rate bondholders will be paid in an attempt to wipe 100 billion euros off the country's 350 billion euro debt pile. Negotiators are hoping to get a deal in place that can be presented to EU leaders at their summit on Monday.
French retailer Carrefour is reportedly in the final stages of replacing its chief executive Lars Olofsson. The Financial Times reports that Olofsson will be replaced by Georges Plaza of Vivarte, which would make him the third chief executive in 4 years. The news, which is expected to be confirmed next week, follows a difficult 18 months for the world's second biggest retailer, which has issued 5 profit warnings. Shares in Carrefour rose 8% on the news of Olofsson's probable departure.
Now, youth unemployment is a problem in many countries around the world, not least Morocco. Around a quarter of the country's graduates fail to find jobs when they leave college, and that's driving some to extreme measures.
Despite a master's degree from Fez University, 27-year-old Abdelwahab Zaidoun was unemployed. He'd been taking part in a 2-week-long sit-in when he set himself on fire after being refused a job.
These people are the elite of Moroccan youth. They were surrounded. They were denied their rights, denied a loaf of bread. Why? Is that the rule of law? Is that the result of the referendum and the parliamentary elections?
Before he died from his injuries, thousands of young Moroccans had gathered in Rabat to show their support. In Morocco, more than a quarter of graduates don't find a job when they leave university. Those sit-ins have become common in front of official buildings, Young Moroccans still dream of becoming civil servants.
Only the state can make up for the lack of jobs, because the private sector doesn't encourage the youth. According to a report from the Labour Ministry, only 15% of Moroccan companies comply with labour laws. Only 12% of private companies declare legal wages.
The country's new prime minister has made employment a priority. He promised to fight corruption and to create 1 million jobs in the next 5 years. But Morocco would need a 6% annual growth rate instead of the current 4.5% for that to happen. It seems like the Moroccan youth will just have to keep waiting in line in the hopes of getting a job.
Well, now it seems, Matthew, the Canadian city is fast becoming one of the best places to shoot movies.
Yes. Now, have you been to Vancouver?
No, never. Heard lots of good things, but never been.
Yeah, lots of good things. Apparently great scenery, fantastic food. Also now it's nicknamed Hollywood North, and that's because it's become the third biggest centre for shooting films after New York and Los Angeles. And that's partly because the city really is doing a lot to encourage people to go and film there. They offer tax breaks if you hire locals to act as extras, get tax breaks of up to 60%. The city's also been wooing the Chinese, really fast-growing film market there, getting them to come over and shoot as well, because they just have built up this fantastic expertise in post-production and visual effects. And we can see there on those images, that's actually filming of a Steven Spielberg science fiction series called Falling Skies, as well as along with other films such as Superman, which has been filmed there, X-Men. So really the place to go really for making films.
Somewhere we can expect to see a lot more footage of, even if we haven't had a chance to visit. Hope we will soon. Thanks
Absolutely.
very much, Matthew, for being with us for those business headlines. In just a few moments, we're going to be getting another look at all the very latest international headlines. Do stay with us here on France 24.
From January to June, our reporters and special correspondents will bring you in-depth coverage of the US primaries, live on France 24. Today, in the course of a football match, 300 people will die of AIDS. For every minute of stoppage time, 5 new HIV cases appear. Together, let us share responsibility. Zero transmission, a condom is the best form of defense. Zero deaths, saving a life is a true match winner. Zero discrimination, whatever the venue, work as a team. Zero transmission, zero deaths, zero discrimination. 3-0 for a can without AIDS.